The enemy is not your husband. The enemy is not your husband. The enemy is not your wife. There is a real enemy, but it's not them. The real enemy is the one who comes to steal and destroy. And he wants to come into your marriage because he hates family. He hates God. He hates the covenant that God made with us when you enter into marriage. And he is coming after you because he wants you to see your wife or your husband through these false lenses of him, through this lens of hate and through the lens of anger and bitterness and unforgiveness. You see, you do face a really real enemy. But if you turn to God, if you give your life fully submitted to God, God will fill you with more of him. He will give you all that you need in him, and you stay rooted in him. And he will show you your real enemy, and he will give you the strategies on what really works, the weapons that really work that are found in his word. Because the enemy that we face is not flesh and blood. The enemy that we face is the evil that hides in the darkness that's out into this world. It is a spiritual battle. Take your eyes off your husband or your wife and put them on God, and let God direct your path in your marriage. Let God be the center of it all. Don't fall into the trap that the enemy has set forth for you. Don't come into agreement with saying, oh, this person's just this way. That's all they are. That's all they've ever been. You know that that's not true because you married them and that's not who they were. You see, if we let it, then marriage can be one of the most sanctifying journeys that you will be on in life. If you do it with God, you will look and be more and more like him. I'm not saying that it's easy, but I am saying that it's worth it if you do it with God and you do it God's way. And then you will truly see the enemy at play, and it's not your husband and it's not your wife. And he will give you the weapons that work. Don't fall into what the world and society try to tell you to do. Don't fall into this false sense of, oh, well, if they're not doing this, if they're not doing that, then I might as well get a divorce. If they're not doing this and doing that, we might as well do whatever. Do not fall into that. That's a trap from the enemy. Because God is a multiplier, and he knows that if he can be at the center of your marriage and at the center of y'all's hearts, and you all are a couple that becomes submitted unto the Lord, he knows that your children will be submitted unto the Lord, as will your children's children and your children's children's children, for generations to come, that you will set the example for that you will break the chains of divorce, that you will break the bondage. And the enemy doesn't want that. He wants you to stay looking at it through a false lens. He wants you to stay looking at it through the lens that the world gives you. He wants you to stay looking at it in a very selfish, self-preserving way, which is, well, they aren't doing this, they aren't doing that. It's their fault, it's this. You're not a victim. You have victory in the Lord. And the Lord is saying, submit unto me and have the victory that I have promised for your life and the life of your husband or the life of your wife and the lives of your family, for more to come. But you have to give your life unto him. You have to submit your will for his and follow him. So I don't know who all of this message is for. And I know that there are people who are of God who are speaking this message. And I implore you to turn to God. Do not turn to the world. Do not turn to what it is that they say you should do and how you should do it. That means that sometimes you can't even turn to your own family and your own friends. You turn to God and you let him guide you. You let him guide your steps and watch him work in your life and the life and the work of your marriage and your family. I pray that this message is a blessing to somebody. Y'all be blessed.